Well, hi, everybody. I'm Don Stewart, and welcome to a very different edition of Breaking News. Today is Saturday. It is the 4th day of May, 2024. And the reason we say different, about 3.5 hours ago, a very confusing story came across the wire. It's a Reuters story. It was put on the website of the Jerusalem Post. I haven't seen it anywhere else. It's a story about Hamas is about ready to announce an agreement for a ceasefire with Israel. Now, this is 3.5 hours ago. However, less than an hour ago, the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, had a ground, air, and naval assault on a terror structure in the Gaza Strip. So actually, nothing is slowing down. All right, here's the problem. It's the Sabbath in Israel, and everything is shut down. And Hamas makes this announcement knowing that a reply cannot come from Israel until the Sabbath ends tonight. Now, right now, it's 3:38 p.m. in Jerusalem. As I'm recording this, it's 5:38 a.m. Here in the West Coast. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to read the Reuters story from the Jerusalem Post, and then we'll have to wait several hours later today for some type of reply from Israel. It's a very confusing story, but Hamas yesterday, I had about a dozen stories trying to choose from this morning when I woke up and I saw this one. Hamas yesterday said they're very excited. They're very optimistic about getting all this done. This is a story yesterday when they're going to Cairo, and supposedly they're in Cairo now. And they're going to, well, we'll see. They're going to announce either in a few hours or in a few days about the ceasefire. Like I said, it's a very confusing story. So I'm going to just read it to you verbatim, and then we'll wait and see what happens. All right. Hamas to soon announce agreement to Egyptian mediation proposal. This is from Reuters. Hamas leadership approved the implementation of the first phase of the hostage deal, according to a senior Hamas official. They will announce soon that they've agreed to the Egyptian mediation proposal, according to Saturday Arab media reports. Palestinian newspaper Al-Quds reported that the announcement would come within days, while Qatari government-aligned newspaper El Sharq reported that would come within hours. See, there's confusion there. In light of recent contacts with the mediator brothers in Egypt and Qatar, the Hamas delegation will head to Cairo on Saturday to complete the discussions, El Sharq quoted Hamas as saying. Hamas's delegation did arrive in Cairo Saturday morning. Hamas told the Saudi newspaper on Saturday, it said its primary focus would be achieving national consensus and rebuilding the Strip. It also reported that in recent hours, Egypt, Qatar, Israel, and Hamas have held discussions on the number of prisoners to be released in the deal. Hamas, according to the Al-Quds report, also received American guarantees, now get this, for a permanent cessation of the war and the withdrawal of the IDF from the Gaza Strip in the third phase of the deal. Hamas also reportedly said there is no need for a permanent ceasefire as a precondition of talks, as they still hold senior IDF officers hostage and will be able to use them as leverage in discussions of a more permanent ceasefire. The IDF denied that it would forego an invasion of Rafah, as we've been saying, due to a hostage deal, telling the Israeli media, as decided by the politicians, the IDF will enter Rafah and destroy the remaining Hamas battalions there, whether or not there will be a temporary ceasefire for the release of our hostages. Political officials agreed, saying that a hostage deal was not connected to a Rafah invasion, and that the invasion would proceed regardless of the success of the agreement. Okay, again, and there's another story. This story came in a couple of sections that they're hinting at the approval of the deal. The first phase to be implemented. The shift seems to be caused by the guarantees from the U.S., Qatar, and Egypt that Israel would entirely withdraw from the Gaza Strip by the end of the deal. Citing reports in Arab media, the Israeli paper Ma'ariv reported that a senior Saudi official confirmed that Hamas was satisfied with the American guarantees. The N12 report noted that the same source said CIA Director William Burns would return to Cairo on Saturday and meet with the senior Hamas negotiating team. The source went on to say part of the assurances was that Israel would not enter Rafah at any point of the deal. He also confirmed that compromises had been reached on the number of hostages and Palestinian prisoners. Here we go. Amid conflicting reports, to say the least, regarding whether or not an Israeli operation Rafah could occur in the event of Hamas agreeing to a hostage deal, Ynet, that's another Israeli source, citing Al Jazeera interviews with a senior Hamas official, reported that the Islamic organization was confused by the Israeli rhetoric. Unfortunately, there was a clear statement from Netanyahu that no matter what might happen, whether there will be a ceasefire or not, he will order an operation in Rafah, this man said. This means that there will be no ceasefire and the fighting will continue, which is contrary to what we are discussing. We want to understand what he means. Our understanding is that any ceasefire agreement means that there will be no more attacks in Gaza. The results today will be different. We've reached an agreement over many points, and a few points remain, said one Egyptian security source to Reuters. A Palestinian official with knowledge of the mediation efforts sounded cautious optimism. Things look better this time. Here we go. But whether an agreement is on hand would depend on whether Israel has offered what it takes for that to happen, the official who asked not to be named told Reuters. In other words, Israel's got to agree to this ridiculous assertion that they're going to agree 3 phases, and the third phase will be to end the war, move out of Gaza, and allow, as some of the reports saying, allow the leaders of Hamas to escape scot-free with any no type of retribution for the murders that they are the ones who put together the plan. In other words, they're not going to be held responsible. They're going to rebuild Gaza. And I guess we'll just move on from here and nothing else to see. This is what we're hearing from Hamas. Remember, Hamas are liars. They are liars. You cannot trust anything that they say. And they did this during the Sabbath, like we said, when Israel cannot respond. So for hours and hours, these stories are traveling around the world for people to read until Israel tonight. And again, it's at about, I think 7:20, something like that, Israeli time. The Shabbat ends. And it's 3:43 right now in Jerusalem, as it's 5:43 here in the United States. And so we will see. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to wait till we find out something more. And in a few hours, when we get some type of response, we'll come back again with a second breaking news and kind of bring you up to date on everything. There were a lot more stories going on, too, today that basically set the stage for what we've been talking about, more arrests on college campuses, more uprising, more things said by the Biden administration that were extremely unhelpful to Israel. And so we'll get into all of that. But until we find out about this hostage deal, and whether it's a go or not, or what Israel's going to say, we're kind of in limbo here. So I thought, we always try and bring you up to date with the latest news. That's why it's called breaking news. And that's what we're doing here. So we'll be back later today with breaking news part 2 when we find out something. Until then, I'm Don Stewart. Thanks for watching. Keep praying. And we'll be with you in a few hours. Until then, may the Lord richly, richly bless.